Hello everyone, welcome to another Gin Opinion. I'm Lloyd Barwick and today we're off to Winchester Distillery in Old Alresford to have a chat with Mark Ferguson there and have a look at all these fantastic gins that they produce. So as usual, if you like the channel, please subscribe and click the bell, and that way our future reviews will come straight to you. So we'll get going and we'll see you in Winchester. So I'm here today in Winchester Distillery with Mark Ferguson. Firstly, Mark, thank you very much for the tour and the insight you've given us into the production and the distillation here at Winchester. It's a fantastic distillery producing some beautiful gins. So firstly, the original gin, Twisted Nose, I know it's very much centred in your area, so I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about that gin and how you put it together and where all the botanicals come from.
Well, firstly, thank you very much for taking the time to come down and see us this afternoon. Twisted Nose, so Twisted Nose is all about this area here around Alresford. So where we're stood now, we have the watercress growing literally just outside the distillery. We have the lavender from the Long Barn lavender on the other side of the village. We have coriander seed from the South Downs. So those are three botanicals growing within a very short radius of the distillery itself. And Twisted Nose is five classic botanicals, which you find in most dry gins, and then five contemporary botanicals, including the watercress and the lavender, which give it its uniqueness and really make it a gin that really reflects this landscape around us here, which is exactly what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah, and it does achieve it. We've got it in the shop. It's certainly one of our favourite London dry styles of gin because it's got that little extra note of the peppery watercress at the end, the lavender, and it's a smashing gin, and it's one we love to have on the shelf. But it's not the only gin you make, of course, because you do the Twisted Nose gin as an oak-aged version, which is very nice. This one is quite special. This is a celebration of King Arthur's Round Table, yeah?
Correct.
So perhaps you could tell us how that came about and what sort of gin that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Winchester Dry Gin, very much more a herbaceous style. It's quite a bit sort of bigger and richer, more complex. We have 25 botanicals in total here, as opposed to 10 in Twisted Nose. And so just by virtue of that, you get more. Flavour-wise, you're going to pick up things like rosemary, lemon thyme, mint, maybe some cinnamon and ginger and those kind of things. There's almost kind of layer after layer after layer of flavour coming through. We have on the label here the Round Table of King Arthur, which is a story which has become synonymous with Winchester. And so 25 seats at the table, hence 25 botanicals in the gin, and those botanicals are things that would have been used in medieval times when this story dates back to, in food, medicines, etc. We have the Hampshire Rose in the middle, and then the Round Table there as well. It's a really stunning label, and yeah, I think it really tells the story quite well through gin.
And it's a lovely gin, isn't it? A bit more of a heavy puncher. It's a really good, well-rounded, full gin, that one, and we like it a lot.
It's got a very traditional backbone. And then, as I say, you just get this kind of wave after wave of flavours. It's a real gin lover's gin, actually.
And talking of gin lovers, we have today discovered that you make an Old Tom gin. Now,
yes.
Gin fans will know Old Tom gins, but this one is quite special, isn't it? It's quite unique the way you put this together. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about your Old Tom gin.
Yeah, no problem. So the Old Tom style actually originated in the 1700s, and that's interesting because it was before the invention of the column still, which allowed for a sort of finer and lighter style of gin, and eventually the London Dry Gin, which became obviously so fashionable. Back in the 1700s, people were making gin with malted barley as a base, sweetened with licorice in the distillation, and crucially was distilled in a pot still. So you keep a lot of that malty flavour in there. So we've gone back to those all the way back to those times. We have a pot distilled malted barley spirit, which is blended in with a London dry gin, which we've made using a lot of licorice root to give sweetness. And what you end up with is our version of that traditional, original Old Tom. So you get a lot of this kind of sweet malty flavours, you get a lot of licorice and orange, and obviously that big backbone of juniper as well. And again, it's a big, bold, flavoursome, and really interesting and unique gin. Works really well with like a spiced orange ginger beer or something along those lines. You can make a fantastic Old Tom, Tom Collins cocktail as well. And yeah, it's really, really interesting.
It is interesting. We've just had a taster ourselves. It's a smashing gin. I can't wait to try it with a bit of ginger ale. I think I'm going to try it with ginger ale.
On a hot day like today,
Yeah,
it's very refreshing.
Yeah, and it's one we're going to speak to you about getting on our shelves, actually.
Please.
We need that one on our shelves. So, thanks, Mark. Thanks for the tour. Thanks for telling us a bit about the gins. We've been waiting a long time to come and see you here. It's been well worth a visit today. And we'll be back again as soon as we can. So, thank you
Pleasure.
very much.
Thank you very much for coming down.